3:30 p.m. Mountain Time, Monday through Friday means it's time for Orange and Blue today. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason, snowstorm, which the Broncos were practicing in. Mace, welcome. I hope you can stay warm during the show, buddy.
I hope I can too. For the record, this sucks. Let me make that clear. I'm sitting on a cold metal bench. My butt is freezing because of this cold metal bench. Unfortunately, I'm not wearing snow pants because it's not that ridiculous out here. Yeah. And this is all part of the new schedule for media where the availability for players is after practice rather than before, as it was prior to this week. Right. I guess if the Broncos get a win, then maybe you can say the change didn't hurt. I don't think it will help or hurt. I think it simply is. But I'm feeling the business end of this change right now. I would like to be snug in my warm home, in my easy chair, my Craftsman easy chair. This sucks. This completely sucks.
Man, unpaid endorsement for Craftsman easy chairs. I got to look up one now. I'm going to Amazon, Mace. I'll be right back. But anyway,
it's Craftsman style, not like a brand. Like it's
okay, Craftsman style.
Yeah. It's a decor and architectural thing. My wife could tell you all about it.
Okay, well, kick up your feet and let's talk some Broncos football today, including no Jerry Jeudy. Your question to Nathaniel Hackett. And, Jerry Jeudy's not out there on Thursday. He's not trending in the right direction to play on Sunday.
Yeah, and Kendall Hinton not out there either. So you're looking at no Kendall Hinton potentially. He hasn't practiced so far. They said it's part of the maintenance plan, but we'll see if he's out there tomorrow. No Jerry Jeudy at this point. And, of course, no KJ Hamler, who's out already. He's basically week to week, and his absence has been referred to as weeks in nature. So don't expect to see him on Sunday. It's probably a stretch to see him playing against Carolina, I would imagine, next week. So the receiver complement is compromised. Good sign. Let's we always say try to be positive around here. Good sign that we saw Baron Browning out there today. This was his first practice since he injured his hip on October 23rd. Put some video out there. He did some of the high knees in stretching. He looked quick when they were going through individual drills during practice. They started off inside the field house, and then after individual work, went outside today. So the Broncos were outside in this for about an hour and 20 minutes or so. But what we saw the individual period, Baron Browning, I thought looked pretty good. Now, does that mean he'll play Sunday? We'll see. They tend to kind of try to ease guys back, but he certainly looks a bit closer than he did before the week.
Well, and we always know around the league, Mace, when these guys come back, it's like come back and then see the next day. Like, how sore are you? How do you respond to that work? So it's an ease, and it's also like Friday. Like Thursday, it's good, but Friday is their setback? Is he a little bit too sore? So we're monitoring, as always, Friday's report.
Yeah. What do you feel like when you wake up in the morning? I mean, we've seen some setbacks so far this year for guys that look like they were coming back and then end up having a slight jog back a little bit before returning. Remember Quinn Miners back late September, early October. Looked like he was poised to return, I believe, for the Raiders game, and didn't work out. And he ended up missing a little more time before he finally got back on the field to play. So yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be mindful. I do wonder what tomorrow is going to look like for Baron Browning. Clearly, I think they do need him. They want him out there. The other thing is, with the position Baron Browning plays, it is possible that if he is back on Sunday, they've got him on a pretty strict rep count, especially with the option of using Draymond Jones as a stand-up edge, as they did against the Tennessee Titans last week. They have a bit more flexibility to ease Baron Browning back than I think they did when he first got hurt.
Yeah, I agree with Vicky here on Facebook. Dude, go sit in your car. And I do have one of those stadium seats if you need, Mace, for the old bench at like a high school stadium, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I know you already haul around a bunch of stuff. Like you need like a little red wagon or something because you bring a lot of stuff. You got a lot of equipment, good equipment that helps out the show.
Yeah, I mean, I got the tripod here. I mean, it looks professional and all that, doing it that way. Yeah, I thought about going to sit in my car, but, I tried to do that on a post-camp show when I was head out to a Rapids game that night, and I tried to do it from my car.
I remember that, yeah.
And it was, I couldn't get the visual right, and then I couldn't get the connection and all that. So I'm a little hesitant right now. That's why I'm just going to stick with this.
Okay.
I'm in a position where I can take advantage of the fact that either it's the cell signal, it's the Broncos Wi-Fi. So I'm able to kind of, backstop my connection a little bit by being out here. But man, my butt is cold.
There's some cars that pull up by the media entrance sometimes. Like sometimes we'll go over there and there's a car. So I mean, Andrew Mason, you could pull your car up over the curb, right? Drive it over there, pick up that nice Broncos Wi-Fi, the team Wi-Fi, not the media Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's all the same now. Like actually, and there is an internal Wi-Fi that we can't use. We just use the Broncos Wi-Fi, which is not password protected. So they have changed that. When I worked for the team, I had access to the non-public Wi-Fi, but
yeah, I never had access to that.
Yeah, those days are long gone. Not
so
back.
many changes for this. Mace's hardcore.
Yeah,
that's right.
We had a comment earlier also about practicing outside. There we go, from Jose, saying the point of practicing outside was toughness, since they have spent 10 months of light practices. And look, last week on a 35-degree sunny day, they went inside.
Much nicer day.
Yes. And Nathaniel Hackett, his response was that he wanted to have a crisper practice. And then DMAC kind of pressed him on that in the Q&A after practice. And then today it's in the 20s, it's snowing, and everybody goes outside. They started inside and went outside. So here's another thing to consider. If you start inside and you build up a sweat and you go outside, isn't that how you get a cold?
That's how you're going to catch a cold. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anymore. I mean, when you really start kind of deconstructing things this year, Cecil, it's just like, I don't know.
I don't know either. It's really disheartening. Don't start cussing yet.
I'm not going to cuss. It's just, if it's not one thing, it's another. And if it were 6-3, we wouldn't be having these discussions. But you're 3-6.
Right.
And that's like, okay, you practice inside on a beautiful day and you practice outside on a lousy day. And by the way, on Sunday, it's going to be, I believe, about 47 degrees at kickoff.
Right.
It's going to be a pretty nice late autumn Colorado day where weather isn't going to be a factor, presumably. I don't know.
Just throw your hands in the air like you just don't care, because we're kind of at that point.
Yeah, when you're 3-6, I mean, you kind of don't care. Although, they were 3-6 back in 2018 and they won 3 in a row. I don't know if 3 in a row is possible. I think they could win 2 in a row here. Yeah. I think we could have a pretty different feeling. Maybe that those embers of hope of being stoked if you win these next 2 games, going to Baltimore, thinking if you can just get that upset. But that's a ways off, right? There's a cliche. It's never as bad as it seems when it's bad. It's never as good as it seems when it's good. Right now, it seems pretty bad, but sometimes we have to take a step back and say, okay, yeah, it's, like Draymond Jones said, hey, could be 0-9. There's a beauty in that.
Exactly. Thank you, Draymond, for that cold bucket of reality. The cold bucket of reality is now the Russell Wilson, like, Russ, come on, dude. And I don't care about, I know BK got to write out them questions, baby. Like, I'll text BK right now and be like, dude, write out the question, because he's stumbling, bumbling there at the end of his question about, like, Russ is using code words from Seattle. And, like, yeah, I don't care. I have zero care about him using code words from Seattle. But Russ, like, every time he's asked, like, under center shotgun, and he's like, I've done everything. Like, yes, but you do one thing better, it seems like. So I just kind of wish Russ, and I appreciate his positive mindset. I really do, man. I really do. But sometimes it would be like, I'd like to go more under center. So he like revealed some truths, and then he just kind of glossed over with some, player speak again.
Yeah, and then Hackett was asked about the shotgun under center thing today, and he talked about how the game has evolved, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? We see that this offense, that what supposedly we're trying to do when you came in talking about wide zone, and you came in with Russell Wilson, who's shown he can execute the play fake boot. You had the material to where you should have been going under center more. And then on top of that, now when you've got an offensive line that's banged up, I do think Graham Glasgow is going to be back on Sunday, which will help.
That's good news.
They're going to get Tom Compton in there at some point, but I'm not sure how available he's going to be this Sunday. He did answer some questions today, but it was alluded to earlier in the day, and even reiterated by Tom Compton. The allusion earlier in the day, not from Compton, but from the coaches, was Billy Turner and his road back. And then there's another example of how you can make progress and then have a setback, right? So with Tom Compton, I think they're being careful, especially coming off of back surgery. He had a herniated disc at one point. So I think Compton's going to help. I don't know that Tom Compton's going to save the day on Sunday, which means you're looking at either Quinn Bailey being bumped up from the practice squad again to be right tackle, or with Cam Fleming looking like he's going to be back, then maybe it's Cam on the left and Calvin Anderson on the right. So we'll see. To be determined. It'll be good to have Tom Compton out there. I just hope that when Compton gets back on the field, Cecil, it's actually the point where he can help alter the outcome for this team.
And I'd feel better about Tom Compton returning if it was wide zone, because that's what he does best. So like Tom Compton returning, great. Are you asking him to be power gap, or are you asking him to do wide zone? Like there's a difference, and he can do both, but I think he's better at zone. So we'll continue that. And I didn't make the presser today, Mace, so I can only say this so much. I can only bitch so much, and sorry if I can't say that. Anyway.
You just did.
I know.
So it's out there now.
It's out there in the orange and blue today. It is a BFD to watch OBT, but like nobody asked Hackett, like, where are the West Coast concepts, right? Because the shotguns under center stuff was there, and I was waiting for the follow-up. I was waiting. I think it was after your question. So this isn't on you. I'll blame DMAC, right?
I had to ask about injured guys. I had to ask about injured guys because he didn't go through the injury report at the start like he usually does. Mm-hmm. Like he mentioned a couple of guys. I'm like, you didn't mention Judy, you didn't mention Barron. I had to ask about those guys. I mean,
right.
But also it was in the media room today, not over on the side of the practice field. And so it's a different dynamic for a press conference because it's the microphone being passed around. You raise your hand, you get in the queue. It's not that initial quick follow-up. So it's a different dynamic. And unfortunately, that lends itself to maybe not having a follow-up like you wanted, right? The one and done.
Yeah, the one and done, because the under center shotgun stuff was there. And he was talking about everyone does shotgun and it's kind of the league. Like, but your system doesn't. And I know he didn't even bring up Jerry Rice and, the old Bill Walsh, West Coast, like the true West Coast concepts. I know we all call it a Shanahan system, but you and I, Mace, can appreciate that it's a Bill Walsh. It's Bill Walsh, basically, but Shanahan perfected it.
It's Shanahan's branch of it. Like, if we go
under center and freaking Hackett was like, everybody in the league shotgun, not you. You're not supposed to be this way.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to go all the way back to the offense, I mean, we go all the way back to Bill Walsh and Virgil Carter after Greg Cook got hurt, right? I mean, if we really want to kind of delve into it, it's the Ohio River offense. It's not the West Coast offense.
Yeah.
But under center, now you can take concepts and work them in shotgun. Okay, that's one of the beauties of how this offense has evolved, is that you can make shotgun work. And we've seen, for example, how you can take this scheme and you can put RPO concepts in, because I think what you and I would agree on is perhaps Mike Shanahan's best coaching job was him and Kyle taking this offense with RG3 and doing a ton of RPO action. And it worked brilliantly until RG3 got hurt.
They had the Legion of Boom on the ropes in the playoffs. They had him beat. And RG3 gets hurt, they lose, Seattle wins the Super Bowl.
So there's a lot of directions you can go in. So it's not like you necessarily say, we can't do shotgun. But it's what your roster, what your personnel allows you to do right now. Your personnel screams, put the quarterback under center. It just bellows that at this point.
Yeah.
It's not 11 personnel. It's not spread it out. And oh, by the way, it's not a function of the score, because they came out and they went shotgun, I believe, on the first 9 plays on Sunday, right? It's not a matter of, oh, we're behind, we got to go into chase mode. They're doing this when they're not in chase mode. No, by the way, the only time they've been behind 2 scores this year was in the second half against the Raiders, right? Every other game, it's been 1 score. Yeah, you've been trying to maybe make some drives late, but you haven't been at a point where you need to start panicking and chucking it around the yard and going indiscriminate 11 personnel shotgun.
Right. And the best teams know that you're down by 3, you're still running the ball. You're down by 7, you're still running the ball. If you're really good at it, you're down by 10, you're still running the ball.
Look at the Titans last week.
Yeah, the Titans do it all the time. And it's not those 3-yard carries in the first quarter, which may be turning Nathaniel Hackett away. I say that, but that's not even reality, Mace, because he doesn't run. He doesn't run enough for it to be like, man, they're not doing it. It's 3 yards a clip. It's about the 3-yard carries in the fourth quarter becoming 6-yard carries.
Right. It's being patient. And when you've got 25 runs and 48 pass plays, you're not being patient, right? I mean, as Nate says, you're dead last on offense. It can only get better, right? Well, that's another thing. Like, what you're doing clearly is not working. Not only is it not working, it's working worse than everybody else in the league at this point. So what are you clinging to here? It's like they on Seinfeld when Elaine Bennis and the gang, they're at a cockfight, and Elaine says, Jerry, it's 3:30 a.m. and I'm at a cockfight. What am I clinging to? That's where the Broncos are right now, okay? So when you're there, just change things. Don't keep mashing your head against the wall. And the thing is, I've seen Nathaniel Hackett run offenses that did play to the strengths of his personnel.
Wilson and Hackett can't get on the same page because they don't understand each other.
It appears to be, from a football perspective, simply a bad match.
Yes, simply a bad match. And God bless both of them. God bless Russell Wilson and God bless Nathaniel Hackett. But one guy got paid and one guy's going to get out of here. So 2-game win streak, whatever. Derek Wolfe suggested, is it okay to root for the Raiders? Like, no, the Raiders suck. But, trouble's afoot at the Circle K.
Yeah, exactly. I understand why people would feel that way, and I say that because, as a college football observer, I will admit I knew the best thing for the University of South Florida in October and early November was to lose, because Jeff Scott clearly wasn't the guy as head coach. So I understand that sentiment. I wasn't rooting against the program. I was rooting for what was best for the program. So I get why there are some fans out there that would say, yeah, I want to move on. But at the same time, it's like, it's the Raiders, man. It's the Raiders. How can you not want the Broncos to beat the Raiders, especially since there is no draft pick benefit, at least in the first 2 rounds, from losing this game, right? How did we get here? I've probably the last 4 days have asked myself 100 times, how did we get to this point? How did it reach a point today where you had an exchange between D-Mac and Dwayne Stukes?
They call him an idiot, or he said it was idiotic?
He said the notion of Pat Surtain on punt returns was idiotic because he'd get hurt because of the risk of injury. But it came to a point where literally Dwayne Stukes, like, he got it. And Stukes, when he answered D-Mac's question, he opened it up for him to say Pat Surtain. Like, it's like, you got any ideas?
Who do you get it? Who do you give me? I'm surprised he didn't say Jalen Virgil, because Jalen Virgil's the answer, not Kendall Hinton, because he said Hinton's not as explosive. It's like, yeah, but Montrell's explosive. It doesn't matter. You wrote about it at DenverFan.com. What was it? 15 yards a punt return, and now it's like 4 yards a punt return.
Yeah, he's under 4 since week 5. He was at 15 for the first 4 games. So the explosiveness hasn't been there in quite some time. And yeah,
see, now we got Raiders fans coming in.
By the way, thanks for reading my story all the way at the end, by the way. But this is what it's come to. I felt the same way I felt last year when Pat Shurmur was up there and he was clearly frustrated with the whole process, and was asked about analytics, and he said points and wins. That's it. I mean, we didn't get to that point until mid-December last year. We're here in middle of November, although it certainly feels like the middle of December, at least a lot of places. I mean, weather like this could be September in Colorado, it could be May in Colorado. It's just what we live with here. But
imagine when you write your memoirs, Mace, the chapter will begin. I was sitting on a bench and my ass was frozen, wondering, why did we get here?
Yeah,
How
you know
did we
what?
get here?
And I can literally use the phrase right now on this hard metal bench on which I sit. I can literally use the phrase, I'm freezing my ass off. Because I can't feel my butt cheeks right now.
Oh my God. He's numb.
I'm cold. My butt is numb. And maybe we're just all numb to everything that's gone on this year. My butt cheeks are numb right now. This is what I do. This is what I go through.
This is what he does for you out there on Orange and Blue today. He does it for you.
Well, you, my friend Cecil over there, but also yes. Yeah, because the schedule dictated I didn't have time to get back to my usual home studio. So here I am out here freezing my butt off for you.
You know they
You're
have
welcome.
the James Palmer studio downstairs. It's a little echoey, honestly.
I should have gone in there because no one was in there.
And you can shut the door.
And I have done a show down there, but I thought 9 News might be using it or something because they got priority on it. Blah blah blah. So here I am. I knew there wouldn't be an issue being out here, but yeah, I am literally freezing my butt off.
David says desperation. That's how we got here.
That's true. By the way, Jeff Legwell just had a huge smirk on his face walking by, hearing me say that.
Yeah. Mace, you got all the street cred in the Mile High City.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I won't forget this show. I mean, with all respect, some of the stuff that we do, it kind of blends into each other after a while, right? As Vicky says, I'm numb to losing. Yeah, I feel like we're in year 6, right? I think everybody's kind of numb to it. I mean, you're numb. You're okay. I mean, there's exasperation, but sometimes you become numb to it. But it's a metaphor. It is. Look, the flurries are flying. I mean, if I wasn't sitting out here freezing, I'd say this is beautiful. You got a snow-covered landscape.
It's a dry, cold. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is if I were a skier, it's good skiing weather, right?
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I don't know what good skiing weather is. I'm not a skier. I'm not a snowboarder. My daughter's taking it up, but
okay.
No. Yeah. Mace's a trooper. No buts about it, says Calling Y'all 7. You know what? This is the business we chose, right?
Yes.
We chose to be uncomfortable. Another aspect of this business is we chose to work on Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? This is what we chose. There's a lot of benefits to it. And look, I'm happy as heck to be covering the NFL, even a team that's struggling like the Broncos.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it's not all smiles and sunshine. Sometimes it's gray skies, 3-6 once again, and snow flurries. It happens.
There goes my hero.
Oh, my gosh. I got a Foo Fighters reference. I like that.
Yeah, go sit in your car and warm up. We're cutting the show short so I can have mercy on your ass. Anyway. We love it. We love it. Man, Orange and Blue today. You guys make it so much fun. Make it fun, brother. And
you too.
Man, this has been outstanding. The response, the love that we get from you all. Give it up for Andrew Mason. Ladies and gentlemen, Broncos country, he is here for you. 3:30 p.m. Mountain Time is when the show is on. We got to tell you, be warm, be safe, be kind. Know that you're appreciated. Stay tuned. And please stay frosty.
I am frosty.